Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Body Tech Talk. Today we are having a special guest. His name is Matthias Regber. He is the boss of Shoppy Water, the agency that is organizing for several years the Multi-Event Windsurf Cup. We will talk about changes in rules. We'll talk about the format we're going to race on. And we will talk about the upcoming events of the season. Stay tuned. Hello, Matthias. Welcome. I'm very happy that you find the time to talk a little bit with me about the upcoming season.
Yes, Vincent. Hello. Thank you. I'm also proud that you chose me for one of your first video YouTube sessions in your Body Talk sessions. Good opportunity for sure to tell the people a little bit what's coming up in the Multi-Event Windsurf Cup this year.
Yes. Actually, what most of the people doesn't know is that you were former active sailor also in the speed category and also I think in the slalom category, or not?
Yeah, I did even wave because I was competing when everybody was doing all disciplines.
Okay.
So at that time you were forced to do waves. I was never a good wave surfer, and my biggest attempt was always like to get the back loop finally in,
Yes.
which was of course desperate because it didn't even work in training. So I was not too successful there, but in slalom it was okay. And as you said, I was quite successful. In 1994, I was German champion in speed surfing, so long time ago. But I'm still windsurfing. I still enjoy it a lot, and I'm also doing foiling now. And sometimes when I sail on my at least to show the other guys that I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, that's very nice. How did it come that you were taking over the organization of the German Windsurfing Cup?
Well, this is a long time ago, a little bit after my championship title, but at that time, all the sponsorship money from the past, which in the 80s and beginning of the 90s, there was a lot of sponsorship money in the German windsurf events and probably also worldwide. We had sponsors from the tobacco industry, and a lot of money went into the sport. But then this faded to the laws and regulations, and there were no agencies who took care of the Windsurf Cup. So there was an association at that time. It was the VDR, Vereinigung Deutscher Regattasurfer, and they organized the events in Germany in cooperation with clubs, but there were less and less clubs that were able to do the events. And also there was less work with the money which they had a little bit saved from the past. And so everybody felt that the events were going smaller and smaller, and somehow it was a negative development. And together with my partner Nick, we decided to do one event here in Kiel. We were at that time studying, and we're still enthusiastic about the sport, and so we wanted to do one windsurf event. And we did this quite here, more or less. Our company is now in Brazilian, close to Schönberg. And we did the event there, and we were a little bit lucky. We found some local sponsors. We had good conditions there, good weather. We had a lot of spectators. And the funny thing is we had happy partners, and at the end there was still some money left. So we thought, oh, this is a great idea. Maybe we continue with this, and it's a nice way to find stuff, and perhaps you can build up something around this. And so we took the approach to the German Association and asked them, next year we want to do it again, perhaps even one or two events more. And then that's some people who were in the competitions know him. He was the president. And he said, but I'm sorry. Either you take over the whole tour or we will close it because all the money from the past has run out. We need to take full responsibility. It is all or nothing. And of course, we were not in the position. We were just starting off. It was a kind of adventure. And we said together, if we want to do it. And then we decided that we risk it. And so we took 1 year off at the university. We were still studying and started this endeavor. And then it worked out quite fine. We had some sponsors already in place. And from that time, we built up a successful system that is lasting now over 25 years, so that we have good events in Germany.
Okay. Yeah, it's I can say I started in 2001, my first complete season. So last year I did my 21st year at the German Windsurfing Cup. So we also know us quite a long time. Over that time, your company was also growing. So it's not just organizing windsurfing events. So you're also importing different kind of sports equipment from water sports, snow, and so on. But what we wanted to talk about, because this is very interesting to all the people, because of the foiling, a lot of new rules came into our system. And actually, right now, the people who are very deep into our sports, not even they know what is going on or what is not going on. So my first question for you is for the upcoming season: how are the rules with fin and with the foil?
Okay, the most important thing is already that we have disciplines, because last year we had one discipline, which was kind of open foil slalom.
Mhm.
So you were allowed to use whatever you want. The idea was we make it rider's choice, and in theory, good idea, because everybody could use whatever he wants. But we were facing two problems. One was that those riders who only competed on the fin had the problem that when we start under 11 knots, possible with foil, had no chance to compete anyway. So in the end, it didn't make sense for them to participate in the events at all anymore. And the second thing was that we were lacking racing, but this is another story that we may approach at a later time. So we needed to do something about it, because there were quite a lot of these people who were not ready to go foiling. Perhaps they were even foiling in their free time and enjoyed it, but not everybody is ready to go full approach on a foil in 20 knots or more, which was necessary to be competitive, and to go in the jibes with 10 other guys all in. So this is a risk for many people, and some people are scared to hurt themselves or to hurt others. So these people were a little bit reluctant to continue competing or to just enter the competitions, and we felt this in the number of competitors at the events. And at the same time, we got a request, can you not please offer something for fin as well? Both from one side, competitors or potential new competitors, but at the same time from the industry, which is also a super important factor for our events, because most riders rely on the support of the industry, at least to get discounted equipment at team rider conditions. So if we are not able to offer something that is interesting for the industry, it's difficult for them to support the riders.
Mhm.
And yeah, based on this, we saw this problem, and we brought this forward to the German Windsurfing Association. And this is very important that we see. We organized, as Choppy Water, we organized the Windsurf Cup, but there's an association, the German Windsurfing Association in the background, who takes the sportive decisions about all this. And so we have annual general meetings. We have a board that takes care of the day-to-day business. So it's not something that we decide simply here inside our room what is happening. We, in the end, transform these conditions into the reality and need to take care of it. But in the end, it's something that is complicatedly decided sometimes and also developing.
Okay, so to summarize, we're having a slalom fleet, and we will have like an open fleet where you can go with the fin and with the foil. So one fin fleet and one open fleet, foil, fin, whatever. So there is a possibility, for example, if we are having strong winds, that there are two heats with two different rankings, but also everyone is using the same equipment, I would say.
Yeah, perhaps just to clarify very much, we have two completely independent disciplines. This is very important, because this was, I think, a big understanding in the beginning of the communication. People were not aware what would happen on the water again. So there's two disciplines, completely independent. One is fin and fin only, and the other open foils. You can use foil, but also in high winds fin. Basically, nothing has changed to last year in this open foil division. And we just added fin on top. And then, as you said, just let me continue, we may face the situation that over 15 knots or over, perhaps at 15, many will still foil. But if we have like 20 knots, we will have a situation that it's potentially happening that we will have one or the other and the people compete on the same. But I think you're taking an extreme example, which is not the regular one we will face.
No. What do you expect? Do you expect that also the top riders are starting in the fin division completely?
As I said, we have a development in the sport. The people are specializing a little bit more. In the good old times, when I was competing, everybody was doing everything. And I still like this approach, and this is why I personally was always a huge fan of the overall ranking, because this was more or less showing the best rider overall. But this is a different story. So I expect that most people will compete, of course, in the open foil division, because this is what they had already in the last year, and nothing will change. But we see that even among those riders, several really like the feeling of blasting over the water on the fin. And at the moment, they are somehow forced to go on the foil until the real limit when it's possible with the foil, because you are simply more competitive. Perhaps it doesn't bring the same feeling, and for some people, not the same fun. But to be competitive, you go on the foil. We saw this last year in St. Peter-Ording. It was really rough conditions, and riders had really problems and struggled on the water. Nonetheless, it was still better to go on the foil. And but every normal rider on the water would be going on a fin, simply to enjoy the conditions, to jump over the waves and all this stuff. And I think there we are opening a door that we offer an alternative platform where the people can do it. And this attracts, of course, new riders, or we will get old riders back again, who we lost over the last years when we had this foiling stuff so strong and more or less you were forced to do it. So we expect some people to return. But at the same time, I think for quite a huge number of people who have like foiling as their main discipline, this may be like something, and I will also go on the fin because I like this feeling, and for me it's something I want to do everything. So maybe even for you.
Sure. I think I will take care. Also, to clarify, the goal is that you can do both rankings, or you can compete in both. That's the goal also.
First of all, you can register for both. So, and we will encourage people to do both. And the race committee will take care that it's possible when they run the events. So there will be enough gap if you change from one discipline to the other, that the people go on the beach, they can drink something, change their equipment, and then go out with the other gear.
Okay. I know that in the wave discipline, there is a possibility for people who make like some kind of short-term decision just to come and don't have to pay the late entry fee. Is something like this also planned for the fin division?
No, it's a little bit more complicated on that side. But basically, you can always come on last minute and come and simply try to find a place. But of course, there needs to be a place in the competition, and we have reduced the number of participants per fleet to 40 to ensure that we have a smooth running of the events. If we would have more riders, we would need more than 4 heats in the first round, and this would make the eliminations too long, especially if we want to ensure that we have valid results in both disciplines. So 40 is the maximum, and if you always take it until the last minute and see how the forecast is and come then of course you have a problem, or you may have a problem because there's no place left. Last but not least, you will, if you register more than 14 days or less than 14 days before an event, you pay a late entry fee. And so it's also not advisable. If I know I want to do it, then I would prepare anyway and go there.
Okay. There are some guys, especially younger guys, who are always complaining. They were also complaining about these new rules that were published, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Why do you think they are complaining so much?
This is a difficult question. I think we need to ask them more. Okay. Sometimes it's quite interesting when you speak to those people directly and explain them a little bit the background of these decisions. Then very often their complaints are going away, and so it's completely different, the situation. I think it's two aspects. First is most of them complain on internet forums and all the communication stuff we have. So it's not that the people look you in the face and tell you what problems they have. It's much easier to complain into a kind of anonymous way when you're just behind a screen. The second thing is, I think it's a natural one, is these young riders are young, ambitious, they want to change the world. The world is, of course, developing. And so I think it's a little bit a natural process that they are questioning the structures that are there. And it very often it takes them some time to see the benefits that they get from the existing structures. And so in the beginning, it's easy to question it. Why is it like it is? Or why are these decisions taken? And the longer the people are involved, I think the more they see the positive aspects and then support it.
Yeah. When we had our general meeting, we also had this discussion, and then I was making like a 2-3 minute speech about the benefit we have from the tour and from the work you're doing. And then the young people starts to realize what they have. And it really gets me on my nerves, because they are complaining and they think they're the heroes just because they did one gold fleet in the IQ games whenever, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And it really gets me on my nerves. That was also a reason why I wanted to have this speech, to clarify also the rules and to clarify that actually what we are getting from Choppy Water is very, very positive. And also that we are having these big sponsors that, in my opinion, give us the possibility, or give you the possibility, to organize, I would say, the most professional tour in the world. Now some guys of the PWA will complain, but to be fair, we are having prize money now at every event. You just launched it. We will have 6 events, even international events. We are having a racing crew which is in the job for more than 20 years. And making a very good and very qualified job to also make them a compliment. And to be fair, like, we are having food, we are having drinks, we are having good events with a good platform of media, and that is helping everyone, to find sponsors also outside of the industry. I would like to talk about the tour now. Because
so thank you for the positive words, but I need to jump in. Of course, this is something that is also pissing us off sometimes. For me personally, perhaps it's not the biggest problem, because I'm used to it over the years and I have matured enough not to be offended too much. But I feel sad for the people who are working there. We have 5 people working every day to get the events going, and for them, most of them are girls. It's really frustrating to see how they are approached sometimes. Of course, they identify themselves with the series. They put all their efforts and their heart blood into these events. And then sometimes they see how they are offended, how the people talk about it. This is really sad to see for me sometimes. And it's quite funny, because now we have a new apprentice, and she only knows the riders so far from the communication we get. And she's really asking, like, are they really like this? Some of them, they are really behaving like assholes and so on. And I say, yeah, it's like this now. When you will meet them face to face, most of them are really nice, and you will see it's completely different. But now it's simply that they are perhaps also not enough on the water, and they need some water time. And as soon as you get the right guys on the water and they have fun, then things change a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I can understand this. I was talking to Lara, and sometimes she's very sad about some people, how they communicate and how they are acting. And for me also, I feel sorry for them, or for you guys sometimes. Thanks for watching the Body Tech Talk episode 2 with Matthias Regber. In the 3rd episode, we will have Matthias as a guest again, and we will talk about the upcoming events. And we'll give you a closer look about the organization. And I tell you, this is also very, very interesting.